Welcome back, everybody. Sive Morten is here with the ForexPeaceArmy.com, and in today's last video, let's take a look at the cryptocurrencies, which we usually do on Mondays and Thursdays. So, setup that we discussed previously on Monday, we said that market probably should show another spike up before it could start the big retracement. This spike has happened, but it was not as strong as we suggested. So, still market hasn't quite reached the XOP target, so it still stands here, and at some point market probably will try to do this. Meantime, in a short term, currently we think that it's better not hurry up, let market to take a breath, and keep an eye on particular level that we will discuss today for possible position taking. So on the weekly chart, the pattern that we also need to keep an eye on is a potential bearish grabber. So the things that we will discuss slightly later on intraday charts will not confront with the potentially bearish pattern, because the setups that we will discuss stand inside the week. So market could flirt around inside of next week, but this pattern could still remain, and potentially it could trigger the action. In the current circumstance, with this background of this rally, appearing of this bearish pattern is, how better to say, it's a bit not quite reliable, or at least it brings lots of doubts, just because this pattern suggests sharp drop and taking out of these lows. It means that if pattern starts working, market has to erase the whole rally of this week that we have right now. As you understand, it will be big consequences, and if this really will happen, it easily we could turn to the head and shoulders pattern right here, right there, right, suggesting deep retracement on the Bitcoin market. So definitely there should be some reasons for that and some fundamental background. If this pattern will not work, or it could be even not to be formed, because today is just Thursday, we have a Friday, if market will move slightly higher and close tighter to the top. In this case, this pattern just will not be formed. We will see it on Monday. We'll return back definitely to this question on Monday and see what will happen, because that might be extremely important. For example, let's take a look. Here was approximately the same situation. Big rally on the weekly, the same grabber has been confirmed, but it hasn't worked. Market just keep going higher. In this case, it's also might be in this way, but I'm just telling you about this because this might be important. And if the bearish sentiment on market will be confirmed, we do know what to expect, and we do know what particular targets might be reached. If we will see some confirmation that this grabber starts working, just keep it in mind. And on Monday we will check it again. On the lower time frame, on the daily, for example, we have this butterfly, we have the target that we discussed, but take a look what has happened this week. Market just moved slightly above the top, tried to stay right there, but a few days ago just collapsed down. So now it seems like start looking like kind of the wash and rinse of the top. So market grabs to stop around it and start downside action. In the current circumstance, what I would do, I would be watching for an area around 119.50, 119 first fib support for a possible bullish momentum trade, because in the first point when the market will touch it in first time, this momentum will work on your side, and there's really big chances on attempt on the upside bounce. So that's why it's relatively safe to consider buying on the first retracement after the big rally. That's what we intend to do on the next week. Also take a look here, right at around this level. They may see the indicator coming in place, and that's also could give us the bullish grabber. If we will get it, it will give us just more confidence. Market will keep going higher. So that's the moments to watch for. On lower time frame, we just could calculate the downside extensions and confirm this level. For instance, on the 4 time frame chart, what we could say, here's a bearish grabber has been formed. It suggests taking out of these lows, which increase chances on the further up downside continuation. For example, we could keep an eye on the two different patterns. First is the ABCD to the downside with the target around 118.60, slightly below the area that we have specified, which will be AB equals CD target. And potentially the butterfly, 127 extension agrees with the level. It stands precisely at 119.50, which is totally corresponds to the fib support. if we will consider the 1618 extension, that will be right around the OP target. So correspondingly, we could say that 118.60, 119.50 in an area where we will be watching for some support, and we will be watching for some bullish signs around it, just to make a decision on a possible long entry with the bounce up. The target of the bounce will be 618 resistance of the whole downside action. So approximately based on the current situation, if we suggest the market will drop somewhere to this level, it might be around 23.50 area. So something like this. So that in towards what we have on the Bitcoin. Currently, there's no reason to suggest that bullish context has been broken longer term. But since market turns to this downside reaction, we'll try to use it. So the scale of this trade is significantly lower than we usually discuss, smaller than we discuss, but still it's a really pretty nice trade with a good chance on success, and I do not see any reasons to ignore it. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.